We are going to be very careful back here to prevent the glitches. Those of you who are on YouTube Live, thank you for joining. But I'm going to start with, don't breathe. If you don't know where to get the rules or access to the rules, that's where I'm going to start with this. So this is us logging in as officials. And when you go to lists, and then right under lists is forms. All right, so I'm going to blow this up a little bit so people can see all the options. We're going to focus on baseball. So yes, it says Baseball 2021 USSSA Rulebook. That is the last time USSSA has adopted Major League Baseball rules. So like if you work a lot of USSSA baseballs, they say original baseball rules. But we don't have the mandatory that they have to face two batters. We don't have any rule change from 2021 in Major League Baseball till today for USSSA Youth Baseball. All right, so this 2021 USSSA rulebook, that is the rulebook USSSA is still using. Now, with that being said, I will send this out to all umpires working USSSA state. Now, this is Nebraska tournament baseball rules. So, like you have original baseball rules. Then you have USSSA rules, the bylaws. And then this state tournament is using these specific rules for more exceptions, which confuses a lot of people. And that's the purpose of having this meeting. All right, so the first thing is time limit, hour 40 minutes for all age groups. Championship games are 2 hours. So if you're working Sunday, the last game on that field, all right, it is a 2-hour time limit. Semi-hour 40 at 8 o'clock, semi-hour 40 at 10 o'clock. At 12:30 will be championship games, 2-hour time limits. All right, so if you're working Sunday at 11 or 12:30, 2-hour time limit. I've even taken a look at the forecast. How is the forecast this weekend? Anyone take a look? All right, so it's not going to be like last year's. Yeah, not the first weekend. It could change any minute. Protest fee, $100 cash. Rule interpretation only. That's no different. Game time, starting time is forfeit time. Has anyone even come up with teams not there to start for a tournament? I know. I think there's only one day. I think it's Sunday. They're playing at Seymour 3 games, but then moving over to Council Bluffs, but there should be enough time for them to move over. Tiebreaker bracket play, we don't have to worry about that except tie and regulations. In bracket play, we need a winner. All right, so if the time limit is up and it's tied in the 5th inning, we don't play the 6th inning like regular baseball. We now go into the tiebreaker. All right, and what we have is each team will put the last scheduled hitter in the extra inning on second base and the second to last scheduled hitter on third base. So this is pretty much, I think this is different than most other tournaments. So this is second and third with 1 out. All right, second, third, 1 out. And championship games, they keep playing baseball. There is no tiebreaker in the championship game. All right, so USSSA, the next 4 weekends. Championship game. I'm going to wait for him. All right, so the question was, is it for consolation championship as well? So it'll be gold, silver, bronze, and the answer is yes. So any bracket, whether it's gold bracket, silver bracket, bronze bracket, if it's a championship game, it'll be 2 hours.
Hey, Sean, catcher pitchers on one of those bases. Can I courtesy run for him?
Yes. but it's got to be the last batted out.
Of 30 center.
Last batted out.
And do I have an out recorded?
Once you have an out recorded, it'll be that person who was batted out, then would courtesy run.
Who's that going out then when I start the inning?
The last batted out.
When's the last time that team got an out?
At the start of the inning. Because there's one.
Are you talking like first inning?
Yeah, so let's say it was a catcher. The catcher was the last batted out. So now he's the last scheduled, so we're going to put him at third base. So who's going to be the courtesy runner? The last batted out. Before him.
And then if he's on base, you go to the next.
Yeah. So the last batted out that's available. Now, if they have subs, they have to use a sub. So a lot of times those championship games, they're not going to bat everybody. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So if they don't bat everybody, if they have a legal substitute, it's got to be a legal substitute.
But they don't run that sub, right?
No, it's just a courtesy runner. That is not considered a sub. It's just courtesy runner. Yep. Arthur. If they've already used their subs, now you go back to that last batted out scenario. All right, no pregame infield warmups. We're not worried about that. We're not worried about refund fees. All right, so here's the team may bat 9 with an EH, extra hitter. So they could bat 10. This comes up almost all the time in Nebraska. Because the USSSA national rules, you're allowed DH option. State of Nebraska, you are not allowed a designated hitter in state tournament. All right, so they could bat 9. They could bat 10 with an EH. And what that EH is, they could switch their defensive players any way they want with that EH. Minus, once that pitcher is pulled out of the game, they can't return as a pitcher in that game. But like at that EH, if they want to play shortstop second inning, awesome. If they want to play right field third inning, awesome. Those 10 players could switch defensive position as freely as they see fit. Those 10 starters then could be subbed. Those 10 starters could re-enter one time. But it has to be in the same exact batting position. I would ask coaches, especially on Saturday and Sunday, for lineups. Now, if they don't have lineups for you, you just got to tell the coaches, if there's discrepancy on subs, we have to go to the home book, which will most likely be Game Changer. But I would strongly suggest, especially Saturday and Sunday, the bracket play games, have the coaches get you a lineup card. Announce substitutes. Number 12 is hitting for number 14 in the 7 hole. Because this is the time of year where it will matter and make a difference. But I can't stress enough, like I said, I will tell you, I was one of the coaches where I brought up the USSSA national rules because I wanted to use a DH. And they're like, no, you can't use a DH. You can only use the EH. But this is a specific Nebraska rule. No DHs. Let's see here. Steel spikes may not be used on portable mounds. I'll fit that into illegal equipment. If the other coach says something, address it. We're not going to be uniform and equipment police minus asking coaches, is everybody properly equipped? Run rules are exactly the same. Let's see here. 7-inning game, 15 after 3, 12 after 4, 8 after 5. 6-inning game, 15 after 3, 8 after 4. We do not have to worry about pitching rules. So the main USSSA Nebraska is the modified bracket play tiebreaker. Championship games, regular baseball, no modified tiebreaker. And then the batting lineups, 9, 10 with an EH, or they could bat everybody. All right, so with that being said, here, has there been USSSA rules that people have encountered where coaches said, well, that is not the way it was in this tournament, that's not the way it was in this tournament, so we, at least as umpires, could get on the same page?
Just taking the out, if that whole order, just taking the out if somebody becomes unable to play.
That was a big thing on USSSA Nebraska coaches Facebook this last week. And if somebody gets hurt, they're bad in the lineup. If somebody gets hurt, I will tell you now that it's a state tournament. If I'm umpiring, I'm not giving the coach the option. I am going out. And the reason I say that, number one, it's other teams that are affected, not just that game. Number one. And number two, it takes everything off of the opposing coach of making that choice if he wants the free out. All right, so like there was this big social media blow up in this coaches forum, and the unanimous consensus was that is the rule. The umpire and coach did the right thing by enforcing the rule. All right, so from a coaching standpoint, if you think you have a player who's going to get injured or you want to protect that automatic out, don't bat everybody. Bat your 10 and have 2 or 3 subs depending on how many, and then work your team in. Ryan?
I got 2 minutes left on the clock, and it's going to be my first loss. But I want to save my arms. Can I just say, hey, I don't want to play? Can I save my arms?
Are you talking about Keystone Cobras or?
I'm talking about the situation that happened over the weekend. Then again, it was pool play, but since this is double Eland, hey, I need to save my arms.
I will say that if both teams are good, I will say time has expired. I will say time. If both coaches come to me as an umpiring crew, hey, time expired. All right, yep, time expired.
Right. What I'm coming to you, Brian hasn't come yet.
If
Brian's getting ready to hit.
if Brian's
He's up by 5. And there's 2 minutes left. I don't want to pitch.
common sense, fair play. You have to feel the environment. Eric, you're going to hate this answer. It's another one of those. Rules are there to be enforced when they need to be enforced. So that team who is up by 5, they know there's 2 minutes left, and that run differential is important to them. They might have to win by 8. So if there's time left, if both coaches come to me and we're good, time has expired. If one coach shows anything, even to the fact that, no, there's 2 minutes left because look at the time, there's 2 minutes left. We want to hit, we need to hit, we need to win by 8. You got to play it out. So if you're going to say time has expired, just make sure everybody's in agreement, everybody's on the same page. When in doubt, play it out.
Same scenario, is that something we didn't look for since I'm now pissed off? Brian's making me part.
Yeah. Whenever you, yeah, 100%. I mean, if I'm saving arms, I'm probably going to throw a pitcher that's not a pitcher, and try to get 3 outs quick. So, common sense, fair play. We have the rules there for when they have to be enforced. If everybody's happy, we're good. Run differential's not a factor. Pitching's not a factor. Both teams are lining up, because that's usually what happens. Because, and I say that, Keystone Cobras, because I've been in that situation where I'll go up to that coach and say, hey, coach, if we don't tie it or take the lead, you good? Yeah, we're good. And then after the 3rd out, boys, let's go, line up. And I'm the coach leading that. And then hopefully the umpire's like, sweet, get out of town. But if you have a coach that says, no, hey, there's 2 minutes left. Guys, let's go. We got to score some runs. These runs are important. Now you can't do that. Because I will be that coach too if I know I have to win by 8 for that run differential.
So, Sean, I got a question then. So, obviously, games are time. So, I had a situation at the yard tournament a while back. 2 kids ran into each other. So, this has all come down to timing and when to stop the clock. So, 2 kids ran into each other in the outfield. Kid, was visibly hurt. Like, we had to call the ambulance out. It was a pretty bad deal. At what point do I say, do I stop the clock right away? Do I give it 5-10 minutes before I stop? We were a half an inning into the game. So, we're 10 minutes into an hour 40 time limit at that point.
If I know that player has to be attended to by medical personnel, I'm stopping the game clock.
Which I did. But
so an ambulance is medical personnel. If somebody says, hey, is that somebody a nurse, is somebody a doctor, and they're not moving that player, I'm going to stop the clock.
Okay.
An injury is like a weather delay. Once we pull the players off the field, and we should be pulling players off the field if medical personnel is taking care of a player, that's when that clock would stop. Okay. But not protests. Protests are part of the time limit. The only time I would probably not make protests part of the time limit if I think the team is protesting just to intentionally delay the game. I'll say, all right, coach, there's 5 minutes left. If you want to lose $100, you can lose $100, but I'm stopping the time when this protest is over. The 5 minutes is going to start. Because I have seen that. I've seen coaches do that. They want to pay $100 just to let the time limit go. So I'm not going to let them again.
Like the big upset.
Yeah. So it's just, again, spirit of the rule. Spirit of the rule.
So start a pool play. Kid gets hurt, can't go. We talked about that. Next game they want to come back, and coach says, "Well, I'm going to list him as a sub. He probably can't play, but he's just on the off chance he's feeling or whatever." So I said, "Oh, that's fine, coach. But if you list him as a sub, you've got to use that player if you choose to use a courtesy runner."
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
That was good there.
So the question is, all right, so I get hurt game 1. We take the automatic outs. Game 2, coach wants to use me as the hurt player, not in the lineup, but as a sub just in case I start feeling better. If there's a courtesy runner, that sub has to courtesy run. And if they're still injured or sick, whatever the case may be, then there's no courtesy runner.
Well, the only way to purchase them is actually have them enter.
Yep. And that's what they could do. Hey, all right, we're going to sub in Sean, number 13. Sweet. All right, 13, Sean's hurt. Get him out. Now you could go to courtesy runners because now they don't have an eligible substitute. And now that re-entry of that catcher or pitcher, that's their one re-entry.
Without having a physical injury.
Yeah. So, I love all these situations that are coming up here.
All right, then I got one more. So, I know we don't keep track of pitch rules. Like, that's not our main job. That's the coach's job, the tournament director. They hash all that out. So, we had a tournament. It was a consolation bracket championship game. Starting pitcher pitched, 3 1/3 inning.